I am up and running and that you are here and you are joining me. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Tip Tuesday, and let's get into this broadcast today. Today's topic is how to overcome tough times and reset your mind. And so, how many of you guys are like feeling that topic? All right, let's get into this conversation. I'm actually just going to close down some things before we start so that way there's no issues here. How are you guys feeling this week? How is things going in your life? And oh man, I'm going to look at me. I'm going to go ahead and put on some lip gloss and let's get this party started up in here. All right, so if you are joining me on Facebook or on Instagram or on the website, wherever you are joining in for me, leave a comment and let me know that you are here. I'm actually pulling up my Facebook feed right now for those of you who are joining me live here at 1:30 p.m. on a Tuesday afternoon for Tip Tuesday. Now, for those of you who are watching this, there I go. I'm live, I'm up and running. So for those of you who are joining and watching the broadcast, and it is not a Tuesday at 1:30 p.m., please leave your comments for me and let me know that you stopped by and watched the video. I am so glad to be hosting this Tip Tuesday with you guys today on this crazy, crazy topic on how to overcome times and reset your mind. Now, we have or I should say, I have just had a crazy set of the last few weeks. And guys, oh Lord, this is the look of overwhelm, defeat, the look of feeling unsure of what to do, because at this particular moment, I'm feeling it. I am feeling the stress of end of school time, transitions happening in my life. I'm feeling the stress of things that I'm putting my time into that is not turning out the way that I had envisioned, or it's like I put time into things and those things either got broken. I don't know how to say got broken, but let me explain it this way. I put my time and energy and faith into things that I was hoping that would unfold, and ultimately those things didn't pan out. So I either have to go back to the drawing board and do those things again, or it was just a waste of time. It feels that way. So you guys, I know that you guys can relate to how I am feeling, and so I wanted to share the upside of how I am feeling with a couple of go-to ways that you can overcome those tough times in your life where you feel the overwhelm, so that you can move forward in positive ways, and not stay stuck where you are. So this is what I had that I wanted to share with you guys today with this quick note. So today's topic is for the moms out there having a tough time living your dreams while you are struggling with the demands of raising a family. Can you relate? Give me some thumbs up. Give me some hearts to let me know if you can relate to this, because I know this is something I deal with each and every day. The struggle of trying to move forward and fulfill my own dreams, but then there's like the demands of my family, like my daughters and the things that they want to do and things that I should be involved with them for them to live their dreams, and then the dreams of my husband and the goals of everybody else that seem more important, but I have dreams too. And so how do you balance? Or there's always the friction, or there's always the struggle of how do I support them and how do they grow while also not putting myself last and not prioritizing them over my needs all the time so that I can feel fulfilled in life too. That balance, right? This is also for those of you women out there, or even men for that matter, who are juggling the life of an entrepreneur. Straight, oh man, juggling the life of an entrepreneur. It's not easy to be living the life of an entrepreneur when there are certain demands in life that remain the same. You know, as an entrepreneur, you may not always get paid every single week. Things are unpredictable. You're not just working your job like you would in a typical traditional career. You're working your job plus all the other jobs that have to be done too. You're wearing every single hat of the business. And so it's just kind of tough. Hey, Herkins, thanks for joining in. But you're juggling all of those things just being an entrepreneur, and then being a mompreneur only adds to that. So for example, today, guys, I was trying to get on live on time today, but of course, as life happens, my daughter is not feeling well, and I get a call from the school saying that we should probably pick her up, her or my dad. I mean, her or her dad should pick her up from school. Mind you, I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, gosh, I have to go live in 30 minutes. And so it's kind of like this constant juggle of responsibilities and moving things around that cause you to feel stressed and overwhelmed and defeated. So that's still on the mama side of things, right? And that's on the entrepreneurial side of things, right? But what about you women out there who are just struggling financially? And you want to pursue your goals and dreams, or if you're just struggling mentally because you want to pursue your goals and dreams, but the negative thoughts leave you feeling stuck and you're not sure what to do. And then there's students, my college students out there who are in college, and you're just juggling the demands of school, finals, test, what are you going to do with your life after you graduate? It's graduation time, and just all of these things. All that to say, the demands and struggles of life will always be there. But what you do to overcome those setbacks and those challenges is truly what will help you make a difference. Because the list of things that will make you feel defeated in life will always continue to flow. And you have to have anchors in your life that will help you overcome those things. And I always get asked, day to day, or just as I meet with different people, how do I stay positive? How do I stay motivated? And I get this question a lot, and I have made videos on how to stay motivated through journaling. But it's always good to just come back around to this topic because of all the different things that we face in our everyday life. And there's the journaling piece to it, but then it's also, what do you do with your actions? How do you renew your mind, body, and soul in order to overcome tough times? Oh, Lord. This past week, I found myself literally here in this office. And I don't even really remember what happened or what was going on, but something made me think about my grandmother. Now, my grandmother has been passed away for over 10 years now, but something made me just, oh, you know what it was? It was Anya. I was sitting at my desk and I was looking at Anya, and I was just like, God, I just wish my grandmother could see what I'm doing now. I wish I could talk to her and just tell her how happy I am about the things that I'm doing now. Because when I was losing her, I was in such a dark place. And I literally started to feel the tears coming to my eyes. Now, this was just last week, and it was out of nowhere. And now I already explained all the different things that kind of, represent what a tough time could be. So your tough time may be in relation to things that I've said, but your tough time could mean something completely different. And so I was at my desk and I could feel the tears starting to come to my eyes just thinking about my grandmother and how I wish she was still here because I had such a good relationship with her. And it's been well over 10 years that she's been gone, but the thought of her and just started to make me want to cry, and I could feel the tears coming up. And I was thinking, gosh, I haven't seen her in so long. And that just made me want to cry more. Because even though it's been years and you're just like, time heals all wounds, which is true. But it's like, gosh, I'm like so many years out and I still feel the pain of missing her. And I just thought about so many other people who have lost, their parents or an aunt or a loved one, which I have lost a lot of people close to me in my life. And there's always this feeling of pain that never really goes away. And so, and this was the first time I had actually thought about my grandmother, and the thought of her, that it's been so long, that made me cry. Like, I can't believe how long it's been. It's not fair because I'll never see her again. And I never had those feelings or thoughts before. This is actually not at all what I was planning to talk about in today, or talk about this much in this video. But I bring it up because I want you guys to start thinking about the different ways that you experience hurt or pain or tough times, so that when I share these tips, you'll be able to apply them to your situation. A lot of people look at my life and they just like, oh, LaTonya, you got it together. You're always smiling. You're always motivated. But it's not because I don't face tough times, and it's not because I don't face pain and hurt in my everyday life, because the truth is I do. Does that make sense to you guys? If that makes sense, give me some hearts, give me some thumbs up so that I know you're here and that what I'm saying relates to you. All right? Because sometimes you may feel like you're alone in a situation, and the truth is no one is ever truly alone. It all just boils down to your own awareness of what's happening in the lives of those around you, and being able to connect with people who can relate to your story, so that you can be reminded that, you know what, yes, I may feel alone right now, but so-and-so is going through this, or so-and-so has gone through this, and this is how they overcame their tough time. And that's why I want to share and talk on this topic with you. And so here are some go-to things that I do all the time to help me overcome these dark, tough moments in my life. And so the first thing that I do each and every time I feel so overwhelmed or so defeated, or I feel like I'm watching the lives of others progress in their life while I'm waiting for my breakthrough to happen, the first thing that I always do is call a timeout. It's time for a timeout. Sometimes you can get so caught up in life and feel like you have to keep going and moving forward, or you feel like you're not in control of what's happening. And in order for you to gain back that control, you have to call a timeout. And so even for me, when I was sitting at my desk and I was thinking about how sad I was getting out, I had to say to myself, okay, LaTonya, gather yourself. Get yourself back together. Your grandmother is watching you. She sees what's going on, and find joy in that, just so I could just bounce right back. Now, every situation's not that easy, but the whole point is call a timeout when you need to call a timeout. You need to call a timeout and tune out, is what I'm saying for you to do. Call a timeout and tune out. So some things that may stir up feelings of defeat and the feelings of unsure of where you stand in life sometimes comes from the burden of stress. And so when you call a timeout and you tune out, what you're doing is detaching yourself from those things for just a moment, so you can think from a point of strength, a different perspective at your situation. So when I find myself in that moment where I'm just kind of like, all right, I need to call timeout, I need to stop everything so I can reset, here's what it looks like for me. I lay out somewhere, literally. If I have enough space on the floor, I will literally go just lay and spread myself out and just lay for just a few minutes, just so I can clear my mind. How many of you guys ever have a moment where you're just kind of like, I just need to stop everything, I need to go for a walk, I need to just take a break, step away from a project, step away from a thing, so I can just clear my mind around what I am feeling. That's the first thing I do. I stop everything and I detach myself from the stress, detach myself from the emotions, detach myself from the current situation that I am in, so that I can have space to breathe, reflect, and reset my mind. And sometimes what that means is I'll go put on some loud music and I go get my journal and space out. Seriously. So when I do that, I actually start my break time by confronting the issues that are at the forefront of my mind. So, for example, this past week, I'm feeling, along with just that moment of grief I was feeling for my grandmother, I was also feeling overwhelmed with some things that are forcing change to happen in my life that I don't feel like I'm ready for. And because of those changes, for example, oh Lord, I'm really trying to work hard, guys, to get some things online. So, for example, Anya's here, getting her up online so you guys can order this piece of inspiration for yourselves. I'm trying to get programs running at new organizations that I've never worked with. I'm trying to do collaborations with people that I've never worked with. And a lot of these things seem possible, but they also are very overwhelming. And it's a lot to juggle at one time when you don't necessarily know what to do. And so for me, I try to, when I call a timeout and when I'm trying to reset my mind, that's when my journaling is like on full effect. I try to confront those issues at the forefront by just writing them out. Here's what I'm dealing with, Latonia. And sometimes I don't, oh, look. Oh, you know, I'm going to grab my journal right now. You should always have a journal on hand. And so this particular journal is like filling up really fast right now. The Choose Happiness journal. This is my journal that I use just each and every day because I'm always dealing with something. Seriously, I'm always dealing with something. And so my pages are literally just filled with those moments, or filled with the things that I'm confronting. Every time that I need to call a timeout, I have time to journal first so that I can write out what's going on so that I can shake those feelings that I need to get rid of. What are the issues that you're facing? What's bothering you that you can't shake the feeling of? What is causing you stress? You have to flush it out and express what that is so that you can have a place to deal with it. You can look at it and say, all right, let me get this all out on paper, so that you can look at it and say, all right, how am I going to overcome this? How am I going to deal with this? So the first thing, call time out and tune out. The second thing that I do is I book myself. I talk about booking yourself in almost every workshop that I run, because what is the biggest issue people face? Not having enough time. So if you're feeling overwhelmed and if you're dealing with something that has a heavy burden on you, how can you deal with those emotions and sort out those thoughts if you don't even have time to do it? And so as soon as I call the timeout and I take time to flush out the emotions, writing them all down in my journal so that I can deal with them, the next thing I start to do is book the time for me to work on dealing with those emotions. Because sometimes you can't just write it out in your journal and, oh, you're done, back to work, let me get back to what I got to do. No, sometimes you need the time in your schedule to sort out the persistent feelings of hurt or pain or stress in order for you to move forward. And so what I like to do is make room in my schedule to practice self-care. Now, I know you guys have heard people talk about self-care a lot. What is that? When you book yourself, that means you are making time for your own rejuvenation, refreshing, and renewal. So when I book time for myself, it's me saying, you know what? I need to take a break from life for just a moment. And so during this time, I'm going to practice self-care. What is self-care? Let me give you guys some examples. For me, self-care means journaling, making time to journal, not just throwing it in the midst of a stressful moment. It means going home for me, it's usually going home, going in my room, and just making myself comfortable, setting up in a relaxing environment so that I can just have undisturbed time by myself. I'm an introvert, although I am social and I do talk to you guys for work. When I'm not on the screen and when I'm not making videos, those quiet times are what I need in order to feel empowered again. You can't pour from an empty cup, and how I refill my cup is from quiet time or doing things that I love. So when I book myself, that is what I am booking myself to do. Have quiet time, go for a walk, maybe go to the gym, do things that I haven't given myself enough quality time to do so that I can refuel, overcome confusion, be able to sort out my goals, be able to check back in and reflect on my vision board or work on my vision board, add new things to it, things that I'm not able to do from a stressful lifestyle, things that I need to do in order to overcome the overwhelm and feel empowered again. So that's the second thing that I do. I book myself. And so that's something that you should practice or get into the habit of doing too when you're experiencing a tough time, because you need time to get back on track. The next thing that I do is find hope. Now, I know this may seem cliche, whatever, but honestly, I have found that in my dark times, it really it really can be hard to get out of it. And you may feel like you have every justified thought to stay in that rock bottom moment. I remember a time when a few months ago when I was really feeling discouraged and defeated because of everything I was trying to do that wasn't working out. And I literally was having negative thoughts that were justifying why I should give up, justify why I suck and why I can't do this business that I set out to do. It was like the negative thoughts were just justifying everything, and I was actually validating why I needed to give up, validating why I needed to just stay to myself and not stay plugged in with positive people. I was justifying everything negatively, right? So because of that, and because I'm aware that that happens, I have to find hope in a dark place. And in order for me to do that, here are some things that I do. Darkness needs light, right? One cannot exist without the other. In order for the light to exist, there would have had to been some darkness. So we know we're going to have to go through some dark times in order for us to be prepared for the light times. And in order for the light times to exist, there has to be some dark times, because we have to be strengthened. We're always being challenged. And so one really can't exist without the other. So we have to be mindful that both exist and be mindful to prepare ourselves for both situations, whether it be light times and whether it be bad, tough times. And so I find hope through these particular ways. I will typically, if I'm feeling discouraged or defeated, I will try to connect with somebody who speaks power into my life, who prays for me, who pours into me, who encourages me. And sometimes that means it's a friend, it could be a family member, it could be a coworker, it could be a mentor, it could be an advisor, it could be literally anyone who inspires you. Maybe it's a book that you read, maybe it's a person you follow on YouTube or Instagram, or maybe it's me. Whoever inspires you, I have to go plug back in and hear a quick message or a motivational word from whoever that is, right? And I'll also find hope through music. So I will journal, and I'll journal to music to reflect the feelings that I want to start carrying over into my soul. When I can't speak those positive words, music sometimes does that for me, or I should say all the time does that for me. And so music is where I can find hope. What else do I do? Oh, I can't forget this one. So you guys know that I'm always doing vision board parties, and I'm talking about vision boards. So going back to your vision board, looking at it, reading the words that you wrote from the Choose Happiness vision board party, and reminding yourself of the journey that you're on. And where did you stand? Where do you leave off with fulfilling those goals? What can you rearrange on your schedule or your plans so that you can get back on top of these things in a better way? Where can you find hope to keep moving forward? You have to force yourself to do this because it's not going to come easy, especially when you're in a dark, tough time. But this is the practice of how you overcome those tough times, is by forcing yourself to find the hope in a dark situation, because that is where your light is going to return from. Okay? And sometimes you have to get out there and volunteer. Volunteer at an event that shares your passion, something that you care about, so that you can have a new perspective on the situation you're in from the situation that you're seeing being experienced by others who maybe not are so fortunate as you. And then reorganize your space. Maybe your hope comes from letting go of some things that you're surrounded by that no longer serve you any longer. So maybe you make it a point to say, I'm booking myself to find hope through reorganizing my space, putting up new pictures, putting up new affirmations on my wall, and letting go of the things that no longer bring positive energy to me. So there are so many ways that you can find hope, but this is typically what I do when I am trying to overcome a tough time. So the fourth thing that I do is, once I've done those things that are start with me, you notice how I didn't say, oh, I go and turn to this person for their advice or this, that, this. Yes, I go talk to people who will empower me, but I'm not looking to people to find out what they do and go do what they do and all that kind of stuff, which, I mean, technically that's what you guys are doing here, but you're going to do it in your own way, okay? I'm just giving you guys the tips to do it so that you can move forward in life, which brings me to this next tip that I do is I find a way to move forward. Once I've called a timeout, once I've booked myself to rejuvenate, once I have found hope through different activities that I could do to renew my mind, body, and soul, it's time for me to take responsibility for the way that I'm feeling and move forward. So how do I do this? I reset and create a plan to get through the tough time. So we started by journaling, right? Journaling about the things that are frustrating us, journaling about the things that are making us feel overwhelmed in life, the things that are stressing us. So now we go back to our journal, and I use the visual journal for this piece. But how are you going to move forward now? And so you have to force yourself again with this. Like, what are you going to do to change the situation? Create a new way to move forward. Create a better situation for yourself that works for you. So this week, new week, I'm coming into this week feeling like, okay, I have so much to do. And I came into last week feeling that way. And I started to prioritize goals. And as the days were going by, I was realizing I wasn't getting as much stuff done as I needed to get done. So ultimately, at the end of the week, what I realized was everything that I thought I needed to do just didn't need to get done at that time. And so I created a new plan to move forward. So right now you may feel like I have to do everything, or I got to get all these things done in order to move forward. But what could you just start with right now? If you had one thing that you could get through today, how can you create a plan to get that one thing done so that you can move yourself forward with the things you're trying to achieve in your life? Just make a list. Start with a list. Start thinking about people you can connect with. Start thinking about things that you could do, activities, events you can attend to get the training, to get the knowledge, to get the inspiration you need so you can move forward. Create a new plan. And that's typically what I do. Once you create that new plan, how can you be positive? You got to stay positive. So this is the next thing I do. I've had a few days to like vent and to be in the midst of just figuring it all out now. But you can't stay in that dark place. So every time I find myself venting in my journal or just talking about the things that are going on, I have to be reminded of, okay, what am I learning from this situation? What am I grateful that I still have that's allowing me to move forward? How can I move forward? What have I learned? Where's the light in the situation that will give me hope to just get through this? So at the beginning of this broadcast, I mentioned to you guys that my daughter is not feeling so great right now. And I'm on this broadcast because I know that these tips and ideas for how to overcome tough times is going to empower you. But at the time, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. This is too much. I gotta pick her up. Who's gonna pick her up? And is my husband gonna do it? And I'm gonna be late. Am I gonna not do the broadcast? And it seemed overwhelming. So where have I found the silver lining in this? How can I be positive about the situation? Well, guess what, guys? What do I typically do right after I finish all my broadcasts? I have to go rush and pick my daughter up from school. So the positive side of the situation here is that I had to figure out a solution to maintain this broadcast and get her from school to bring her to the doctors. And so as it turned out, my husband spoke to his boss and he's able to pick up my daughter from school. And because of that, I'm able to be on this broadcast and I don't have to rush out of here now. It kind of just opened up my afternoon. So I don't have to feel like I gotta rush and get this thing done. And even though I didn't start on the time that I wanted, now I can spend the time sharing from a real situation I'm dealing with on how I'm finding the positive light in it. I get to have more time. And I don't have to leave at 2 to go get her from school. And so, yeah. Ah, Lord, it can be hard to find those positive things, but when you think about the positive things that do exist, it does make moving forward easier. And so even with my grandmother, I was thinking about she's not here, she won't know, but the truth is she does know. She's been watching the whole time. She's probably been the one cheering me on in those moments where I feel so dark. She's probably been the one that's sending angels out trying to help me along the way. And it's hard to remember those things until you make an intention to think about them and find those aspects of being positive in a dark situation. So the last thing that I have, and see, there's a lot of things here, and it's a process. Maybe you take one step at a day at a time. It's not something like, okay, here's the checklist, let me get that. No, it's more like, what are the variety of things that I can do to move forward? And so these are just a few things. So here's the last thing. So I'm coming into the office today, and this week has been really tough. It's so weird to say that because it's only Tuesday. So how can the week be tough? But the week has been feeling very overwhelming with just the load of things that I have to do. But when I came into the office today and I went to go put my key in the door, something about that moment reminded me that today is a fresh start. Whatever happened yesterday or whatever didn't happen yesterday the way that you had planned, let it go. Because yesterday is gone and today is new. And today is a new opportunity for you to have a fresh start and a fresh outlook to overcome the situation that you're in. What can you do to restart your plan today that maybe didn't get accomplished yesterday? Where can you start today? What's the one thing you could do to move forward? What's the one way you could book yourself today to have a fresh start, have a moment to experience your own self-care and call a timeout on life? It's a fresh start each and every day that you wake up with a new beginning. You don't have to carry those things from yesterday into today. You can have control over your situation and you can make plans to change your situation so that you can move forward in a way that works for you. Now, maybe you're saying, well, I have to go to work. I can't I can't change what I have to do today. I'm stuck. Well, here's the thing. If it really bothers you, maybe it's time for you to let that thing go. And maybe your plan is, okay, in 12 months, if these things don't happen, I need to find a new job, or I need to find a new situation that works for me. And ultimately, that's exactly what I did a few months ago. I was really struggling with this life-work balance because Herkins and I had decided, my husband and I had decided a few years ago, we were going to get rid of our second car so that we could save money for to pay off one of our cars. So we would be debt-free on the one car and then save money to buy our next car cash. We've been living off one car for 4 years. Oh my Lord, it has been tough 4 years. It didn't start off bad, but staying motivated and trying to juggle our demanding schedules with a growing family, it just became very, very tough over the years. But ultimately, we did reach our goal. And we were able to pay off the first car, and then we were able to purchase our second car fully paid, so we have no debt on those things. And look at how it turned out today. If we didn't sacrifice, if we didn't come up with a plan for the second car and how we wanted to achieve our financial goals, we wouldn't even have a second car today for my husband to even pick up my daughter from school. And that may have been the case. I may have had to reschedule this broadcast, and it would have been all right. You know why? Because it would have been the plan that works for the current situation that it is. And that plan would have built my awareness around, and this is why we need to get a second car, to prevent situations like this. So luckily for us, we've already been here too many times before, and we stayed motivated with our plan to deal with the issues that we face. So don't feel like you don't have control over your current situations. It's just a matter of making a plan that works for your situation and implementing people and resources in your life to help you get it done so that you can move forward. And all of those plans and all those ideas and all of these things that I shared about today, how does that happen? Right here in your journaling time. This is where you get to plan the roadmap for your life, create strategies, or I should say, create structures and anchors and things and motivation affirmations in your life for you to stay motivated and move forward. Those times that you book yourself and you need to express how you feel, it's you writing it down, you're pouring out, you're flushing it out in here, and then you're creating the plan in here on how to move forward, to track those positive moments, to track what you're grateful for, the life lessons you're learning through your situation. And ultimately, each and every day you move forward is another day that you are able to change the course of your life and overcome those tough times. So I am so glad that you guys joined me here today. Please give me your hearts, give me your thumbs up to let me know that what I had to say was empowering to you. I hope that it was helpful, and I hope that what you were able to get from this broadcast today helps you as you think about how you can overcome tough times in your life. The journal that I featured here was the Choose Happiness Journal, which you can go and check out over at letswritelife.com. I also mentioned Anya here in the background. It's a new art print that is up on the website. And look, even looking at my wall today, with all the juggles of life, I've been doing a lot of moving around on my wall, and I had planned that today this wall would be back up. Like, I didn't even have Anya up for this broadcast. And so things don't always turn out the way that even I plan for them to be. But you know what? You just move forward. And so now I'm looking at the inspiration wall, and I'm just like, you know what? This is the space for you to grow. Maybe this is the space you need to fill in your life with those things that are going to help you overcome those tough times. And it's blank and it's waiting for you to fill it up with something new. So how's that for inspiration? Okay, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed this broadcast. I have a vision board party. The replay is available for you guys to go check out. So I'll have the link up with this video once it is available on the website. Go check it out if you're looking for some inspiration over at letswritelife.com. Thank you guys for joining the broadcast today. See you next time. Have a wonderful day.